Hey guys, what's going on? Migan here. All right, back to the Q&As. This one is on losing fat and boosting testosterone, especially if you're skinny fat. But anyway, all right, let's get started. These questions are taken from my SKOOL community, so make sure you join while it's still cheap. All right, let's look at the poll. Roughly, let's see, I'm less than 15% body fat, 25 votes. I'm over 15% body fat, 31 votes. Okay. All right, first question from Enders KJ. Is the best way to measure body fat percentage with one of those grippers? No, that's not the best way. Guys, to be honest with you, there's no best way to measure body fat percentage. You have to take at least 2 to 3 measurements and then look at the average. I keep it simple. First, I do the visual check, right? Because it's all about speed. Life is all about being fast, right? Don't waste too much time, like fucking 30 minutes to an hour trying to figure out your body fat percentage when even after an hour, you still won't get the exact number. So number one, just do the basic eye check by looking at body fat percentage charts. I created one, which somebody posted right underneath your comment. Right, look up Team 3D Alpha body fat chart, and just try to get a quick estimate of where you are. Right, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be within, we'll say, 2 to maybe 5% max from your actual body fat. That's the first check, right? Second one is obviously if you have, a decent scale at home. That again, I say decent because a lot of those are very bad, right? So use a what is it called? I forgot what it's called, but use one of those scales that send like an electrical current through your body to give you an idea of your body fat percentage. Make sure you pick pick one that's actually accurate because a lot of them are like 10% off. So that's the second one, and then the third one is then you could use the calipers and stuff like that. So just find three cheap ways to quickly get an assessment. So if one tells you 15%, the other one tells you 18%, the other one tells you 16%, then you know you're in that range, right, between 15 and 18%. Of course, you could do DEXA, but that's more expensive, and that's not something you could check every day. All right, so to answer your question, best way to measure body fat percentage is to just guess that bitch using three various cheap and affordable methods, right? And if you can afford a DEXA scan, get a DEXA scan, but even a DEXA scan is not 100% accurate. All right, next, let's see. Joshua John asking for a friend, female, 5'7". She doesn't do gym really, just some home classes. What's the best method to lose weight? Again, I'm gonna give you a simple answer. The best method to lose weight is to be in a caloric deficit, either through eating less calories than you burn, or to keep your calories the same but increase, your activity, your TDE. So that's it, right? That's the best method to lose fat. It's not complicated. It's hard, but it's not complicated, right? Be in a caloric deficit either through eating less calories than you burn, right? Or by keeping your calories the same and just moving more, exercising more. Doesn't matter. Both methods will lead to a caloric deficit. The one I prefer is moving more while actually eating more, right? So increasing your calories so that you can have the energy to actually move and then moving above that number. So let's say you normally eat 2,000 calories a day and you're a fat fuck, right? Uh, you can lower your calories to 1,500. That's going to give you a 500 caloric deficit, and you instantly going to lose weight. Unfortunately, some of it's going to be muscle, if you don't lift weights, blah, blah, blah. Or you can keep eating your 2,000 calories and increase your energy expenditure, meaning move more, so that you burn 2,500 calories, right? What I recommend is you take that person who eats 2,000 calories a day and they're not moving or gaining weight, right? You make them eat up to 22 to 2,500 calories, right? And then you make them move so that they burn 3,000 calories. To me, that's the best method for fat loss, is to actually eat more calories to give you enough energy and micronutrients and proteins and fats and carbs, right? And actually try to move above that number, right? You still end up in a caloric deficit, but the difference is you're moving more and you have a lot more energy, right? And also a lot more micronutrients. Because when you cut your calories, one of the biggest mistakes people make is they end up reducing a lot of their micronutrients. They're getting less magnesium, less zinc, less potassium, less fiber, less healthy fats, less omega 3s. And then they wonder why they feel like shit and their hormones tank, right? So that's why I don't like the traditional approach of just cutting the calories. I'm like, how about you increase your calories and then you just increase your non-exercise activity thermogenesis and your exercise activity thermogenesis more, right? All right, next, Brandon says, what is the best way to lose fat while gaining muscle? Parentheses, recomping. Is it upping cardio while eating around maintenance and upping volume? He's 5'9", 160 pounds, 17% body fat. FFMI is 20. Bench press 225. Deadlift 295. Incline 180 pounds. OHP 140 pounds. And what's that? 230 pounds DB. All right, 2.5 years in the gym. Okay, so 5'9", 160, 17% body fat. Yeah, try to put on more muscle. Because at 5'9", let me see. Let's convert 5'9" to centimeters. Right, so we'll do 5 times 12. All right, so you at 69. We'll multiply that by 2.54. Yeah, I'm a nerd, I know. So 175. Yeah, so your weight should be around 175 lean. Right, try to get to 175 pounds at around, obviously at a lower body fat percentage. And then if I could look up what FFMI that would give you. Hold on. FFMI is very important, guys. Gotta know your FFMI. It's the most important number if you're trying to be jacked. And hold on. So 5'9", 175 pounds. Yeah. If you get to 175 pounds at 10% body fat, your FFMI will be 23, which will be amazing. You will look in great shape, and it's 100% doable naturally. And if you have 15% body fat, yeah, that'll be FFMI 22, which is still a lot of muscle. So yeah, try to get it 175. Let's see. You say, and also if you've been lifting for 2.5 years and you're not there yet, then you're doing something wrong, brother. Follow the HSP training principles. Do full body training. Train each muscle 3 times a week. Do not skip legs, and you'll be fine. Now, as far as to answer your question, the best way to lose fat while gaining muscle is very simple. If you say recomping, meaning your body weight is not changing, so that means keep your caloric intake the same, right? Or adjust it based on your training, but lift weights, full body work. Guys, full body workouts are king. I cannot stress this enough. They check so many boxes. They're best for strength. They're best for power. They're best for hypertrophy. Stop listening to the roid heads who are telling you to do bro splits and push pull. That only works if you have great genetics or are enhanced, meaning TRT, which is steroids, or peptides and stuff like that, or SARMs. If you're natural, full body workouts 3 times a week, you will put on so much muscle while actually losing body fat. Assuming that your calories are around maintenance. So that's my best advice to you, right? Start training full body 3 times a week. Don't make the mistake that a lot of people make, which is they don't train quads and hamstrings, which is, think about it, that most of your mass, your lean mass, is in your lower body, right? So if you're not training your quads and your hamstrings, how do you expect to recomp efficiently? All right, next question is from, let's see. And yeah, definitely do cardio. That will allow you to eat more calories, and it'll allow you to maximize your insulin sensitivity. All right, next is from Tom Butler. Why is FFMI a good measurement compared to BMI or other methods? What's the difference? BMI does not account for lean mass. BMI just looks at your weight compared to your height, which is dumb, right? Because what if you're 200 pounds, 40% body fat, right? Compared to somebody who's 200 pounds at, let's say, 10% body fat. They're going to have the exact same BMI, assuming they have the same height, right? But clearly one person is more healthy and more jacked than the other. So FFMI looks at your fat-free. That's what's called fat-free mass index, right? So it looks at 2 people of the same height, and it sees who's more jacked based on, again, their lean mass. Whereas BMI just combines your lean mass and your fat mass. So that's why BMI is grossly inaccurate if you jacked, which is most people are not jacked. That's why you can use BMI for the average person. All right, next. Kane Sweeney, best way to break through a fat loss plateau. Okay, well, there are many ways to break through a fat loss plateau, right? Again, at the end of the day, it's about creating a caloric deficit, either through moving more or eating less calories. So if you're at a plateau, try to figure out why, right? Is it because you're not moving enough? Are you getting you following the 10 testosterone commandments? Are you getting your 10,000 steps minimum? Are you training full body 3 times a week, right? It depends on what are you doing as far as the basics go first. If you're doing the basics and then you hit a plateau, well, now it's simple. Now just turn up the volume on, let's say, steps. Try to get 15,000 instead of 10,000 steps while keeping everything else the same. If you're getting 15,000 steps, go to 20K, right? Is it training? Maybe you're not training hard enough, right? Try to figure out, first do the basics, like I always say, then try to figure out what you can turn the volume up or down on. That's how you break through a fat loss plateau. It's very simple. Or short answer is just cut your calories again. Next, this is from Sigo. Considering that you have a diet that is average in terms of magnesium, how much dark chocolate is enough to give you the extra magnesium you need? Come on, guys. I don't like questions like that because it's like it's basic math, right? You saying how much more dark chocolate is enough to give you the extra magnesium? Well, first, I don't know how much. I don't know how much magnesium you need. How am I supposed to answer that question? Think about it. You said, considering that you have a diet that is average in magnesium, how much dark chocolate is enough to give you the extra magnesium you need? How am I supposed to give you the answer to that if I don't even have the number? Right? Do you need 50 more, 100 more? You know? And if you know, let's say it's 100 milligrams more magnesium, just do the math. Find out how much magnesium is in whatever chocolate you're eating. Because depending on the dark chocolate you're eating, you're going to have different magnesium content. Is it 90% dark chocolate? Is it 100% dark chocolate? Is it 70%? I said dark chocolate. I mean pure cocoa, right? Is it 90%, 70%? Just do basic math or ask ChatGPT. Yeah, next you have tapioca, my nigga. All right, is carb timing a high ROI concern? Yes. Yes, carb timing is a high ROI concern. Unless you're like an athlete where you constantly moving, constantly exercising. In that case, you don't really have to worry about, post-workout, pre-workout, because in that case, you want to be eating carbs every 2 to 3 hours anyway, right? If you're an athlete, like say football player, basketball player, every single meal should have carbs because you do not have, think about it. An athlete needs like 500 grams of carbs minimum, right, on average. And you're not going to get that in 1 or 2 meals. You're going to have to spread that bitch out, right? So for the average person, carb timing is important because if you eat carbs while you're sedentary, then think about that. You're going to fuck up your insulin sensitivity. You're going to be skinny fat. That's why a lot of people are skinny fat, by the way, is because we eat carbs at the wrong time and we sedentary. Right? So, yeah, carb timing is very important. And mainly the type of carb, right? If you're eating simple carbs, you want to make sure it's either during your workout, like, like a glucose drink, or post-workout to replenish glycogen stores. Any other time, apart from around that workout window, it's a recipe for disaster. It's going to crush your energy. It's going to spike your blood sugar way too high. And if you do that over and over again, as you can imagine, you're going to create insulin resistance. Next, you say jump rope fasted, like you mentioned in your old videos, and not eating for about an hour afterward. Does it give more fat loss benefit than doing it any other time of the day? Let me try to understand your question. Jump rope fasted. Again, if you're asking anything about fat loss benefit, replace the word fat loss with caloric deficit, right? And that will answer your question 99.9% of the time, right? So whether you do fat loss and you do jump roping and you wait an hour to eat, or you wait 30 minutes, whatever, at the end of the day, right? All that matters is, are you going to be in a caloric deficit, right? So it doesn't matter if you jump rope and you wait 8 hours. If after that you eat 5,000 calories and you only burn 2,000, right? You're going to gain weight, right? Guys, just go back to physics. Go back to, the mathematical formula for fat loss. So as far as fat loss benefit, not really. Now, if you're talking about energy and muscle mass, yeah, now we're talking, right? But fat loss comes down to creating a caloric deficit. It's that simple. Next, and obviously, if you want to build muscle or maintain muscle while you in that caloric deficit, you just gotta lift weights, right? Eat enough protein. All that does is, make sure that your caloric deficit is leading to fat loss as opposed to just weight loss, right? Which are two different things. Next, is it true that even at maintenance you can build muscle using stored fat, or is the deficit mandatory? I know that without the deficit itself, both muscle building and fat loss are going to be slow as fuck. I just want to know if it's going to happen eventually. Yes, even at maintenance, you can build muscle while losing fat, right? You just have to build muscle at a very fast rate. All right, so let me give you a thumbs up. So let's say you burn 2,000 calories a day. You could keep eating 2,000 calories a day, right? Again, and within those 2,000 calories a day, you're training hard, you're doing your full body 3 times a week, blah, 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 blah. Your muscle mass is going to go up, right? And your fat mass is going to go down, mainly because that process of building muscle is going to require some calories. Now, again, it's a small amount. That's why it's a slow process. But that process of building muscle is going to require more calories. And that's going to come from, your fat stores, right? Because the mass has to come from somewhere. The extra muscle mass that you're gaining. And if it's not coming from food, where's it going to come from? From fat. All right, next, Juan Guinansaka? I probably murdered your name and your legacy. But anyway, next, 5'10", 205 pounds, 25% body fat. Yeah, you got to cut, brother. You got to cut. I've been lifting for 1.5 years. Back in February, I made my elbow do a weird movement while picking up one of my friends. And since then, I haven't been in the gym like I used to. My joints crack a lot since I've started lifting, so it's discouraging, but I'm still going to go. I get at least 94% of my macros, but I haven't seen much change since I haven't been tracking my food and macros. Been a year since I started doing that. What should I do? On average, I eat 210 grams of carbs, 190 grams of protein, 130 grams of fat daily. I don't know how many calories that is. I'm not gonna do the math right now. But you said a lot of stuff. So let me quickly go through that again. So you're saying that I've been lifting for 2.5. My joints crack a lot. So I started lifting. Discouraging. I'm still gonna go. Okay. Get the joint situation sorted out, right? Don't try to run a race if you're limping, right? Try to fix that. And let's see. I get at least 94% of my macros. Why is it 94%? Guys, you should be getting 120% of your macros, right? Do not be deficient in any micronutrient. They are not optional. They are mandatory for your physiological processes. So don't be like, hey, I'm getting at least 99%. No. You could do that with protein. You could do that with fats, carbs, right? You could be like 99% there, 95% there, but not with micronutrients, especially since most of the foods that we eat are low in macros, because of the whole salt depletion. And, we also got to factor in the fact that you have high inflammation. There's so many reasons why you have to eat above the RDA, but obviously within the upper limit of your micronutrients. So definitely do that. Take care of your elbow situation. You said I haven't been much. You also don't track your food. Okay, track your food. Guys, the only people who should not track their food are people who eat the exact same foods every day, meaning they track their foods once. They created a meal plan that has all macros and micros, and then they just eat the exact same foods every day. Those are the people that don't have to weigh their food or track their food, because what's the point, right? If you're eating the exact same meal plan and you already tracked it and weighed it once, right? No need to track and weigh your food. But if you eat different foods, you don't stick to the same meal plan, you gotta track. You gotta track. I can't tell you how many times clients thought, hey, I'm getting this amount, and they were way off when we actually put everything in chronometer. So if you're not eating the same foods every day, track. As far as your macros are all over the place, and I can't give you enough information because I don't know how many times you work out. I don't know, what kind of split you're on, how much. There's so much I don't know about you. So what I will say, though, is that depending on how active you are, your carbs are very low and your fats are very high. Next, how can I optimize metabolism and digestion? And brother is trying to have textbook shits every day. Well, guys, please, before you press enter, when you type something, before you press send or enter, just reread what you wrote and then fix the grammar. It's not that hard, guys. Right? I'm trying to answer your question, and I can't understand what you're saying. How can I optimize metabolism and digestion? And brother is trying to have textbook shits every day. What? What does that even mean? Do you mean a brother is trying to have textbook shits? Because you put end. Anyway, optimize metabolism and digestion. Well, to optimize metabolism, just eat healthy. Follow the 10 testosterone commandments. Eat healthy, exercise, sleep well. Those are the big three, right? Diet, training, stress and recovery management. That's going to optimize, that's what the 10 testosterone commandments are for. It answers those questions. As far as having good shits, again, to optimize gut health, you want to make sure you're getting enough fiber, right? Most men should be getting 50 grams of fiber a day. No exceptions. Most men should be getting 50 grams of fiber a day. Well, I shouldn't say no exception because some people obviously have, weird sensitivities, but on average, go for at least 50, right? 100 grams of fiber a day is a cheat code. Cheat code for gut health, for weight loss, for everything, for estrogen control. But start at least 50 grams of fiber a day. Also, make sure you're getting bone broth. Make sure you're getting, good quality protein. So you're getting enough glutamine, stuff like that. And obviously, avoid junk food. It's the basics. Avoid junk food. Avoid sugar. I'm not referring to fruit sugar, by the way. Next, you have Alejandro Munoz, top 3 dieting hacks, 800 calorie deficit. Shit is tiring, getting 20K steps every day just to be able to eat a couple more ounces of raisins and nuts. Shaking my head. Let's see, top 3 dieting hacks. That's too vague, man. That's too vague, my nigga. That's way too vague. But if I had to pick, whenever I get a vague question, I always give basic generic answers, right? So top 3 dieting hacks. I'm gonna say again, just get your steps in, get your protein, do full body 3 times a week. Keep moving. This way, you're gonna have great mitochondrial health, and that's actually gonna help with energy. Believe it or not, people think, oh, I'm eating less calories, therefore I'm gonna move more because I'm tired. It's the other way around. If you're in a deficit, you need to move more. You want to make sure your mitochondrial function is peak, and that's only gonna happen if you're constantly moving, exercising, frequency, all that stuff. So yeah, those are my top 3 dieting hacks. Right? Make sure you're constantly moving, constantly. Don't be sedentary for more than 5 hours. 5 hours is pushing it. The average person is sedentary for like 10 plus hours a day, right? So try not to be sedentary. Eat more protein. Make sure it's animal protein. And for me, fiber is the GOAT. Whenever we're talking about fat loss or reducing estrogen or staying full, fiber is the GOAT. It is so underrated. Next, you have GOAT. Which is better for fat loss, jumping jacks or jump roping? I would say jump roping, but it's not like significantly better, right? At the end of the day, if you're burning 500 calories from both, right, or 200 calories from both, that's all that matters. But they're both good, right? They're both good. I prefer jump roping because it's more standardized. But if you don't have a jump rope, you could do jumping jacks. I also like jump roping because it's like an indirect calf workout. Next, you have Thomas Batu. Hey, Migan, I'm 6'2", 158 pounds. God damn, you underweight. 6'2", only 158. 16% body fat. So basically, I'm a bitch. Oh man, I love this guy. Wait, did I like the other guys? Okay, yeah, I did. I'm trying. By the way, yeah, the more likes you get on SKOOL, the more you level up, and the more you unlock, good stuff like deals, discounts, programs, blah blah blah. So post good stuff, get likes. I'm trying to bulk, but I mainly store fat on the lower belly and my chest area, and I don't know if I should lose it first. Around what goals should I reach for if I go on the cut or bulk? And if I keep bulking, what's the point where I should go on the cut? Thanks, bro. You the best. All right, so that's a lot. Let's see. So you store fat mainly in your lower belly. Yeah, unfortunately, that's the skinny fat curse. Usually means your cortisol is high and your insulin sensitivity is garbage. So it means you're probably sedentary and you're breaking a lot of the 10 testosterone commandments. Next, you said, I don't know if I should lose it first. Yeah. Guys, if you have a lot of belly fat, you have no business bulking, especially if it's a big bulk. Right? If you have a lot of belly fat, you got to get that checked first. Because if you try to bulk, you're just going to make it bigger. And then your insulin sensitivity is garbage. So a lot of the extra calories are not even going to go to the right places, right? They're not going to go towards muscle. They're going to disproportionately go towards fat. So if your belly fat is out of control, I would say address that first. Lose the belly fat first, meaning either recomp or cut, depending on how you look. Build muscle, guys. Muscle is the cure, man. Muscle is the cure. Build muscle. It's going to allow you to eat more calories. It's going to allow you to fix your insulin sensitivity, which is part of why you have belly fat in the first place. Build muscle, guys. Full body, 3 times a week. HSP training. And what else you said? So yeah, hopefully that answers your question, right? Don't bulk. Just recomp or go on a slight cut until you lose most of that belly fat. Next, Andy. You never told me how to pronounce your last name. Is it Jung or is it Young? All right, is loading up on carbs, 100 to 120 grams, with fruits and milk and beans in the morning before a long walk session a good thing to do? My walk sessions last anywhere from 2.5 to 3 hours, and I also call back load after the walks. Yeah. If you're gonna go on a long walk and you're assuming your liver glycogen is low, meaning it's early in the morning, the first 4 hours of the day your liver glycogen is low as fuck, right? Even when you eat breakfast in the morning, it takes like 4 to 5 hours for your liver glycogen to go back to peak levels, which is about 100 to 120 grams. So if you're gonna exercise in the morning, you definitely want to have some carbs, right? Definitely, both before and during. So yes, that's a good idea if you're gonna go on a long walk. Now, if it's later in the day and you already have enough glycogen, right, in your liver and obviously your muscles, then it's not mandatory. So like, again, timing is important, right? Depends. Next, we have Ben, 21 years old, 83 kg, body fat 14%, FFMI 20, lost 16 kg, so that's about 30 plus pounds since February. By the way, good shit, because I was fat as fuck, did this workout, cardio, but how can I incorporate jump rope into my routine to shred the last few kilograms? Would 30 minutes of zone 2, 3 times a week work? Would love to hear your thoughts. Absolutely. But I think, guys, one of the best ways to do cardio, whether it's zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, doesn't matter, is fighting, right? You don't have to spar. You don't have to fight someone. You could just get a, fucking fighting dummy at home, right? Or a punching bag, and just throw some combos, right? You could do it in zone 2, where you're not, going as hard. You could do it in zone 3, zone 4, zone 5. And why do I think that's better? Is because you're doing two birds with one stone, right? You're doing cardio. At the same time, you're practicing your fighting, which every man should be doing every day anyway, right? But if not, yeah, you could definitely do jump rope. And by the way, congrats on your fat loss. All right, last question is from Aymar Oyen Guren. I wonder where you're from. Is this like South Asia or something? Like Southeast Asia? Anyway, what is the 80-20 in food and supplements? So you mean the Pareto principle? Hold on. 17 years old, 210 kg deadlift. It's a very good deadlift. 100, depending on how long you've been working out. 110 kg bench press. Okay, so that's over 220 pounds. 150, yes. 86 kg body weight, 174 centimeters, 18%, but I think you meant body fat at the end. 80-20 rule in food and supplements. For the average man who exercises and trains hard, believe it or not, it's not even protein, it's carbs. Carbs are massively underrated, right? Most people get enough protein, believe it or not. Most people that are into fitness, they get enough protein. But carbs, almost everybody I consult with or help is not getting enough carbs, believe it or not. And it's alarming how many people think 300 grams of carbs is enough if you active and you train hard, full body, 3 times a week, and you run and you spar. You need a lot of carbs. So I would say the 80-20 rule for food is first carbs, right? Get a decent amount of nutrient-dense carbs. On top of that, it's going to help a lot of the micronutrient deficiencies people have. Think about it, guys. The biggest deficiencies people have, apart from choline, is magnesium, potassium, boron, vitamin E. Those are some of the largest deficiencies, right, across the board. And guess what foods are high in those? Oh, don't get me started on B1, right, thiamine. Guess what foods are highest in those? Carbs, right? Because your vitamin E comes from nuts, which are carbs. Your magnesium, your B1, your potassium mainly come from carbs, right? So not only you need carbs for energy and reducing cortisol and sleeping better and, increasing free testosterone, lowering SHBG, you also need it for a lot of the micronutrients that the average person is low in. Anyway, I hope this video helps, guys. We hit the limit. Join the SKOOL community and support the channel by buying the eBooks, or if you need me for coaching, hit me up for a free intro call. I'm out of here.